move up and down. One long way in a circle.
Robotics is just so timely for the kids. We're just on the verge of having a robotics explosion. The kids need to be familiar with it, understand how it all works, and what makes it work, and what the limitations are. Just the way when I was growing up, you might need to know how to tune your Chevrolet. They're going to be needing to know how to kickstart a robot.
Here's what you got to do today. I want the thought for today, what you're trying to do. You remember what you're trying to invent?
For this project, I wanted it to be the first time that they did a project where they decide what their end product is. Before, I would give them an end product. Make a robot that will do this. Make a robot that will do that. For this project, we read the parts of 2 robot magazines where they discuss the new cutting-edge robotics and the newly released things from all over the world, whether it's a toy or something NASA is doing. And then I had them brainstorm what robotics might affect their lives, or what robotics might they use when they have a career. And then what I want them to do is to make a prototype of a robot that then they're going to come back and try to sell to us as a class. Is this something that's going to help them in their life? Is it something that's going to help them in business? Of course, they all immediately thought of a robot to do their homework, so I had to count that one out. There's no real textbooks for teaching robotics at this level. With kids now, with the MTV mentality, you need to keep things short. I've used magazines, Robot Magazine. I've used things from the History Channel. And nowadays, if you put something on TV, the kids automatically look at it no matter what it is. But that works a whole lot better, because by the time you put something in a textbook with the way technology is today, by the time a textbook comes to market, it's outdated. After our reading, we do a Socratic seminar. Here the kids we discuss what we read, but the kids, when they make a statement, they have to support it by referring to what they read. And it's to make sure that they're actually paying attention to what they read and processing it, rather than just sort of skimming over it. Now they have to actually prove what they're saying or give reasons based on what they read for what they're trying to say.
What's it supposed to do?
When you use issues, it really engages the kids because they themselves are issue-oriented and they want to take a stand one side or another. And these are the things that in the 21st century matter. Do we really have global warming? What's going to happen to the fresh water? What happens in North Carolina's hog farms when we have a hurricane? But if we take away the hog farms, how are they going to make money? The trade-offs and the issues, these are the things that we're going to in our new century, our new millennium. These are the things that the kids need to know and understand, and they need to be better informed than the people we have representing us now. One of the particular issues in robotics that I try to, especially with this particular unit, it's going to be a focus, is the trade-offs. Several of my kids, bless their hearts, are trying to build a robot to pick up the Legos they drop on the floor. But if we build robots that sweep and wax our floor, which we now have, what happens to the people who do that? When we put robots on the assembly line, there's a trade-off. Now, what happens to the jobs? Now, there are going to be more jobs in robotics, but there'll be less jobs welding cars on the assembly line. And the kids need to understand that and be aware of it, and hopefully it may help them make a decision about what kind of job they want to do. They keep a daily journal that I've given them a structure to follow. That way I can follow what they're doing and thinking. It helps, hopefully, to keep their thoughts and activities organized and gives them a reference, and it gives me a reference to see what's going on. And if it's really well done, I can see the progression from when they started till they finished, all the obstacles that they overcame, when they changed particular things and why. And you can really get an insight into what they were thinking and doing. And it's fairly close to what you do when you're a scientist and you're keeping your research journals where this is what I did today, this is how many I counted, this is what they look like, where you record all your data and all your observations.
What does that mean?
The proposal consist of a sketch of how they're going to build a prototype. It should make it obvious to me what they're trying to build, and a sentence or two explaining it, so that if you're not used to the way the kids draw and sketch, it would make what it is they're attempting plain. I have a lot of kids that do better in my class than others because they get to use their hands every day. A lot of the things that you're forbidden to do in other classes, you have to do in here. You have to talk with your partner, you have to get out of your seat, and you have to do something with your hands. This is one of the few places where you take an idea and you make it into something that's concrete. You have other classes where you might write about an idea, make a poem about an idea. You can even draw an idea. But it's pretty unique in a school to take an idea and turn it into something that does something for you.
Because when we put it down on the ground, there'll be pressure, and then it could fall off then.
It's very good for a kid to see a reason for reading and a reason for writing. One of the things I like about anything that involves using your hands, what you often find is the children that excel are different from the ones that excel when you're just doing reading and writing and arithmetic. Somehow I've seen plenty of kids when it comes to fine-tuning things, making those little minute adjustments. You've done everything right, you think, but it's just not quite working. A lot of times the kids who can look at it and figure out that little nudge that it needs are very different from the people who can answer all the questions right. Now, Lego Mindstorms, it's outshooted a famous Lego product, and actually is the most successful product they've ever had. And it fits in with their normal Legos, but it is a battery box. It has 3 ports for power to come out, 3 ports for sensors to come in. You can have up to 5 different programs on here at a time that you can switch between. You write the program on a computer and you download it through infrared. It beams in just like your TV remote control. One of my students is making a robotic arm. This particular person wants to make something to fold their clothes, which if she does, I will buy. And this is the first part of it. This is where she's made a robotic arm to lift with.
See, it's gonna be a sensor somewhere, and then it's gonna sense the dark clothes and the light clothes. And then it's gonna pick them up off the floor and put it in that basket that I want it to.
Seymour Papert wrote a book, Mindstorms, Children's Computers and Powerful Ideas, about how computers can give children the ability to experiment and to try out things and create things that they normally wouldn't get. And then the reason that these were named Mindstorms is based on that book and that quote, because here they get to try out their ideas, they get to see things that they conceived come to life in 3 dimensions and then do something.
It's a book light, and then it turns pages for you.
I bet the robot that could change the channel, you can like say turn to channel 24 or 21 and then turn it to it.
This is only the prototype, so this can only launch small balls.
He has to sweep up a lot of Legos all the time, so we came up with this to just like help him out.
So this is almost pure inquiry. There's a difference between playing with this and working with this towards a goal, and that's the battle that I fight with kids each class, is keep them on the work part rather than the play part. If they just played, they don't get the satisfaction of trying a challenge and succeeding. One of the things that they need to know is that working hard at something can bring a whole lot of satisfaction. Seymour Papert calls that hard fun. One of the nice things about teaching something like this, it's okay if you don't have all the answers, or if they can do more than you can. It just makes you feel good. It's not embarrassing if they can figure out something that you can't. It makes you feel better about them, and you know that they're better prepared. They don't have to come to you for the
Plus,
answer.
we gotta take XBC off and re-glue the motor because
In math, you don't get that much, hands-on, and in our core classes, we don't get that much hands-on experiences. And I like coming here so that we can build and, learn while we're doing it.
All my students have seen iRobot, and all of them are really concerned about robotic uprising. And I enjoy their conversations about it, but they have a long way to go first.
To make it bigger. This isn't supposed to go in a circle. It's just supposed to turn the pages.